Okay, hello, my name is Mordeth, Mordeth13 for YouTube. Usually I go by Mordeth. This video is about just some tips for beginners. I'm not a MSF instructor, motorcycle safety course instructor, or anything like that. I've been riding for 11 years, and I ride 365 days a year because I live in Taiwan, and Taiwan has no snow. So for the last 8 years, I've been riding motorcycles every single day of my life. And before that, I rode bikes in Canada. But in Canada, you can only ride about 5 months out of the year because of the winters. But anyways, some tips. First of all, there's a thread on my Ninja 650 forum that talks about what's the most important thing that you learned while taking riding courses. And the number one answer for most people is to look through the turn. And what they mean by that is when they're... Oh, look at this house. What they mean by that is when they're going around a corner or whatever, you really need to fix your eyes on the place you want to go. And it's not an easy thing to do. It's not a natural thing to do. Your eyes won't want to look there. Your eyes will want to look at more, and focus on more what's on the ground ahead of you in case there's a rock or a pothole or something. But it's a mistake. You really want to look where you want to exit the curve. Sometimes you're pretty much looking straight to the left, you know, you're turning left and you're pretty much looking over here somewhere. But that's what you want to be doing. It happens a lot. Like even I sometimes have trouble with it. I'll be in a corner and I'll be kind of like shaky and I'll think to myself, oh, I'm leaning too far, I'm going too fast, and then all of a sudden I remember I'm not really looking where I should be. And then I'll look where I should be, and all of a sudden the bike just smooths itself out, and all of a sudden it doesn't feel like I'm going too fast, and everything just starts to work, you know? Everything starts to fit. So yeah, if you're a new rider, just remember, you look where you want to go. A lot of motorcycle accidents happen from target fixation, and that's just a part of the same thing. It's where someone is going into a corner and then they notice like a parked car is kind of parked a bit too far out or something, and then they look at the parked car and they're like, oh, I hope I don't hit that. But because they're looking at it, their body subtly adjusts to help them move towards it, and they end up hitting the parked car because target fixation. Or they're going around a corner and they notice there's lots of things you could notice. But once you look at something, it tends to help the bike to move in that direction. It's not, like I've read some people write, yeah, if you look at something, you just go that way. Well, that's not fucking true, because I'm looking over here right now and I'm looking to the right. But you know what I mean. It just, when you do look at something, especially when you're trying to turn, it will subtly influence the bike to go that direction. Okay, so that's the first thing. Look where you want to go. And in the case of corners, where you want to go isn't necessarily ahead. It's the exit of the corner. You want to look as far around the corner as you possibly can, pretty much. Yeah, and the other thing that I think is really important, like I learned this after about a week of riding. I think I've been riding a motorcycle for about a week, and then a guy who'd been riding for like more than a year or two, he told me about counter steering. And when he told me about it, he's just like, yeah, if you turn the handlebars one way, like if you turn the handlebars to the right, the bike will go to the left. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make sense. And he's like, yeah, I know, but that's supposedly how it works. And I'm like, well, did you try it? And he's like, no, I wasn't brave enough. And he's been riding for 2 years, and he never, tried counter steering. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, pretty much, I think the very next time I got on my bike, I'm like, okay, well, let's give this a try. So I'm going to do it right now to show you. I've showed it to other people. Like, I've had a girl in the back of the motorcycle, and I'm showing her counter steering and how it works. And she's like, that doesn't make sense. You must be doing something else. It must be because you're leaning your body. She, refused to believe that I was turning the handlebars in one direction and it was causing the bike to go the other. But the easiest way to show you is I take my hands off, and here I'll pull on this, And you see what happens to the bike? It leans to the left. So we do it again. I'm pulling. See? The bike goes to the left. I pull. The bike leans to the left. If I pull here, the bike leans to the right. And you can tell I'm not pushing or doing anything else. I'm just pulling on one of the handlebars, which causes the bike to lean in that direction. The opposite direction. Yeah, I pull on the right, which makes it go to the left. So, yeah, that's counter steering. And it's not dangerous. You saw me just do it with no hands on the thing. A lot of people just, I don't mess with counter steering. I just use my body, blah, blah, blah. But first of all, you can't turn a motorcycle with just your body. It's been proven. Some people will argue that. People say, oh, I can keep the handlebars perfectly straight and take a corner. No, well, maybe if it's a low-speed corner, maybe. But in general, no, you can't. Because if you can say that you keep the handlebars straight and you can take a corner with just your body, then what that means is you should be able to take your hands off and then take a corner. And I can do it. I can move the bike. But I can just move it subtly, you know, and not much. And if it was like this corner that's coming up ahead, if I were to take my hands off right before this corner, then there's no way I could turn it just by leaning. I have to use the handlebars. See, this is a bit too quick for me just to lean at this speed. And it's not that sharp of a corner. But, yeah, so the point is, well, the thing is so what that means is everyone counter steers that rides a motorcycle. You couldn't ride a motorcycle and not counter steer. But some people are just pussies and refuse to experiment with it. They're like, no, I don't want to experiment with it. Well, you know, I'll just whatever. I think corners good enough as it is. I don't need to try to counter steer. Okay, well, maybe that's true. Okay, we got a bike coming up. GSXR. Wearing a t-shirt. So I'd ride with him, but he's wearing a t-shirt, so he's already lost a lot of respect in my book. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah. The thing is, everyone counter steers. But once you consciously counter steer, and once you try experimenting with it and learning the limits of it, then you can control it predictably. And this is very important for obstacles and dangerous situations. For example, what would happen if a car there's a little driveway here. What happens if a car were to come out of this driveway into my lane? Well, if it would happen, I would do this. And I would swerve around him, okay? And do you think I just did that swerve by leaning left and leaning right? No. When I lean left and lean right, the bike barely moves, okay? Just slowly leans. I made that swerve by counter steering, by pushing hard on the handlebars one way and then pushing hard the other way. That's counter steering. You can only do this by pushing on the handlebars. And once you learn how to do this, then you can change your direction on your motorcycle quickly. You know what I mean? And changing your direction quickly is quite obviously a very, very big safety bonus if you know how to change your direction quickly. If you don't know how to change your direction quickly, like, geez, you might as well drive a car with the steering wheel lock on, you know, like one of those clubs that you put on the steering wheel and you can't turn it all the way and then drive around like that because you're not willing to experiment with counter steering. You're just limiting your ability to steer. So yeah, if you've never consciously pushed or pulled on the handlebars, do it the next time you ride. I already showed you it's not dangerous. You're not gonna pull on the handlebar and the bike's gonna flip on its side or something, okay? Here, I'll show you again. Here, what's that? I'm going straight. Here's the handlebar. I pull, the bike leans to the left. I'm going straight. I pull, the bike leans to the right. I barely even shift, you know, because I'm just pulling lightly. Another way people do it is by pushing. They say, push right, go right. Push right, lean to the right. Push left, lean to the left. Just go out and fiddle with that, and you'll learn, you know, and after a short amount of time of doing that, your brain will connect what you're doing, and then you'll be able to choose the angle you want to lean instantly. And if you go into a corner too fast, you know exactly what you need to do physically to get the bike to lean farther. Like I've met guys that have been riding bikes for years, and they don't even know about counter steering. And And I've had people tell me that's impossible. They're like, that's impossible. No one could ride a bike for years and not know what counter steering is. Yeah, sure they could. You know, I've met guys who've been riding for 10 years, and you ask them about counter steering, they're like, what's that? You know, and then you ask them, okay, if you're riding a motorcycle and you pull on the right handlebar, what happens? They'll say, oh, that means you're turning the handlebar to the right, the bike will go right. No, it'll go left. So what are you talking about? And they've been riding for years. Do they ride okay? Yeah, I'm sure they do, you know. They've never been in an accident? Well, yeah, good for them. But what happens if if a car were to pull out right in front of them? Chances are they'd crash into the side of it. Luckily, cars don't pull out in front of people on a daily basis. So. Okay, I caught up to that GSX-R 1000 again. I wonder if he's going to pass me. Yeah, I'm going to let him. I don't want to make him feel bad about owning such a fast bike and being quicker than him, so I'll just let him pass. Gotta feel sorry for people who own the quick bikes. They spend so much money to buy such a powerful bike that I don't want to humiliate them by the speed camera. There we go. Hot pocket, let's humiliate him. I don't think he didn't even really try to keep up with me, so I'm not gonna say like, oh yeah, I kicked his ass, because I didn't. He didn't try. He's just coasting, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, especially when you're wearing a t-shirt.